Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received. Indeed, strange things are happening in this world. The message reads like this. Hello, Brother Nash. How are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? I have come here on your platform so that I can confess to you that indeed I am a ritualist, and the things that I did is that after my brother had passed away, I then went as I had been told by the traditional healer who gave me these charms. This traditional healer, he stays there in Mudzi, there in Nyamapanda. That is where my auntie took me. This auntie of mine, she is my late father's sister. She is the one who got me involved in all these things of witchcraft. And when a witch wants you to do bad stuff, she will start telling you things that you want to hear. And I kept on listening to this auntie of mine, but I didn't know that she had evil intentions against my brother. As for my brother, what had been protecting him all along, it was that the woman that he got married to is a very prayerful woman. Since my auntie is a witch, she kept on looking for ways to bewitch my brother because she felt so jealousy because my brother was such a successful man when it came to business, an honest man. So whenever she will go to my brother's house at night, she will always find an angel that will be standing in the compound holding a sword. This is what she told me, but at that time I didn't even know that this was an angelic being, because the way that she presented this story to me, it felt as if my brother had gone somewhere to get some powers so that he can protect himself. This is what my auntie told me. She said, your brother, whenever I try to go to his place at night with our ancestors to fight off the evil that he has done, to remove that calabash that is full of blood. My auntie said that my brother in his bedroom had a calabash that was full of blood, and anyone that dies in the family, then that person's blood will be filled, that person's blood will be placed in that. Then my brother will take the blood of that deceased relative of ours. Then my brother will pour the blood into that calabash because he had his tokologies. So I believed everything that my auntie was saying. At that time when I came to Harare, I was still a young man, but now I am 37 years old and I have my wife and I have 2 girls. So when I came here to Harare, this was after my father had passed away, and I felt so much pain when my father passed away because my father, he just died mysteriously. The next morning he was found by some boys that were going with their gods to the pastures. So they came across my father. He was just sleeping in this other ditch there in the village, and when they tried to wake him up, they thought that maybe he was too drunk. So they came and they told us as a family that this is what they had seen. We then went there, and when we went there, immediately we saw that there was no more life. My father had passed away. So my auntie said that she had a dream, and in her dream she actually saw that my father was going to die. And I said, why didn't you tell me that this is what was going to happen? She said that I was afraid that your brother was going to sacrifice me because I see that your brother wants to finish off the whole family simply because he is a security company there in Harare. This was soon after I had started working for my brother. So my brother was staying in Chitungwiza, and I also came and I started staying here in Chitungwiza. My brother then said that I do not want you to also work as a security guard, but what I want you to do is that I want you to have a driver's license. I was then given one of the company car, and I could do whatever I wanted. I had all the benefits, but each and every time when I would return back to the village, I'll find my wife and my auntie. They will be having a lot of discussions about this issue until my auntie said, do you know the reason as to why your brother called you in the city? I said, no, auntie, I do not know. Then my auntie said, the only reason he called you in the city, it is because he wants to use you for rituals. And I was like, why would he want to do that? My auntie then said, if you think that I am lying, let us go to this other traditional healer. We then went to that traditional healer in Mudzi, close to Nyamapanda. When we went there, that traditional healer told me that I want you to see something. He then gave me this mirror, and I saw everything that had happened in our life like a movie. These witch doctors, they will give you an illusion. My brother's wife, the one who is a Pentecostal woman, I saw her in that mirror as she was performing rituals with my late brother, but this was just an illusion. It was not the truth. Brother Nashi, when I said I do not want him to sacrifice me since I was the next in line, then that traditional healer said, I can actually do a go back to sender to this man who is trying to sacrifice you and who is trying to steal your gift. Can you see that from the time that you started working for him, this security company is growing big? And I said, yes, indeed, it is growing big. And that traditional healer said, it is because of your gift. He is jealous. He knows that you are going to start your own company that will be much more bigger than his. So they want to sacrifice you. The devil is a liar, Brother Nashi. I was lied to. My auntie is an original witch, and that witch doctor is also a witch. So the way that they work together, my auntie and this witch that is there in Mudzi, and when this traditional healer finds a customer, and maybe if that client, the child of that client will be so sick or mentally ill, and if he cannot cure that child or his client that will be mentally ill, he will then call my auntie. Since my auntie is a very powerful witch, she knows a lot of herbs, so they will then start to assist each other. And my auntie, since she is a witch, she can actually communicate with the person that would have bewitched that person that would have come to this witch doctor, so that the person can release the curse. This I found out later. So I was then told that this witch doctor only needed $200. So when I returned back to Harare, I thought that everything was going to be okay because it was now a go back to sender. Then 3 days later, that was when my brother suffered from a stroke. He could not even move. He could not do anything. After that, he was told that he had diabetes, and 3 months later, that was when he passed away. When my brother passed away, my auntie took me again back to that traditional healer's place, and I was told that I had to go and collect some soil from my brother's grave. So I went and I collected the soil. This time around, I didn't go back with my auntie back to Mudzi, but I went alone. I went and I gave that traditional healer the soil that I had collected from my brother's grave. And then the traditional healer said, finally, we have found a way to control your brother's spirit. I then returned back to Harare. When I returned back to Harare, the traditional healer would regularly call me. He told me now I had the powers. So what I started doing is that I was now using the spirit of my brother to cause confusion in the family. Like when people said we need to pray, we need to understand what actually happened to our brother, the way that he died. He died in a very mysterious way, and people were now saying, why is it all the people in our family, they just die mysteriously, even my late father? So all the time I was actually pretending as if I was in support. We would pray, and when I would return back to my place, me and my auntie, we will kneel down, then we'll call the spirit of my late brother and we'll insult him and we'll tell him to go and cause confusion in the family. Like if people say, on a Monday, we must begin our 1 week of fasting and prayer, then the people in the family, my relatives, when you will be at work, you will feel so hungry, like an unnatural hunger. It was because of the spirit of my late brother that we were sending out. What I started doing is that I then started changing the names and the documents of the company so that it can become my own. But when I looked at my late brother's wife, I felt so sorry for her. I didn't take all of her shares. I just left her with something so that she can be able to feed the kids. This thing, I did it in 2016. Right now, I am the one who is in control of the company. So recently, what happened, what pains me right now is that I started having dreams about my brother. He was really angry. I would see him in my son's spare bedroom, and when I would go there, he would be full of blood, like my son would be full of blood. So right now, I am now staying in an area in Chishawasha. That is where I bought my house. Then it happened that on this other day, I had a dream. So I was upstairs in my bedroom with my wife, and I had a dream, and I saw that my brother was downstairs. I then went downstairs, and indeed I saw that my late brother, he was with my son, but the way that my son was behaving, it was like he was mentally ill. And when my son woke up the next morning, he said that he actually has a headache. So I consulted with that traditional healer. I went there, and when I came back, Brother Nashi, to my surprise, I then saw that the traditional healer was in my bedroom. All of these things, my wife, she does not know that these are the things that are happening. I asked this traditional healer what he is doing in my bedroom. He said, there is fire. There is fire at my shrine. My compound is burning. I said, why? He then said, it is because of your late brother's wife. She is the one who is causing this fire in my compound because of her prayers. I said, so what are we going to do? This healer has since told me that if I am going to die, if this woman overpowers me with her prayers, then you are going to die because your protector would have died, who is going to protect you. I said, so what can we do? Then he said that I want you to sacrifice at least one amongst your kids and two amongst your relatives. He told me that I have to sacrifice 2 kids, like one of my child, and I have to choose another child in the family. Then I have to choose one adult, who is my relative. This thing, I have to do it before the end of this year. This traditional healer, his spirit has since refused to go back to his compound there in Mudzi. The spirit says that it is afraid that if it returns back, it might die. So that traditional healer, he is just living without a soul. This soul, I even see it in my bedroom. The way that I feed this soil, the way that I feed this traditional healer spirit, each and every day, I go to the shops and I buy a 1 liter of fresh milk as well as honey. And this traditional healer tells me that each and every time when I buy this milk and some honey, I have to pretend as if I have forgotten the change. So each and every day, I am always changing shops. Today, I go and I buy at this shop. I might be having $20 or more than that. Then when the till operator will be busy counting the change, I'll then walk away. Even if she calls me, I'll just pretend as if I am having a conversation with someone on the phone. I do this because these are part of the rituals. I do not have to collect the change. And when I come back, I then feed this traditional healer's spirit so that the spirit won't die. This is the situation that I am facing since last year. I don't know what I can do. I do not have anyone to communicate with. As for my auntie, she just tells me to do. As for my auntie, she told me that I have to do what the traditional healer has told me to do. She said, I sacrificed my husband, so why are you afraid to sacrifice your son? This is my story.